What is up, Canada? What is up, YouTube? Matt McKeever here. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about personal finances and TikTok and the advice you can get in regards to personal finances on TikTok. And today we're actually live on TikTok. So what's up, TikTok? Hope you guys are having a good day. We're also live on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. So we're trying to come to you on just about all of the platforms because I'm not sure how long we'll be allowed to be on platforms, but let's do it while we can. So anyways, in today's story, we're going to be talking about why is TikTok a good medium for financial tips and why should financial influencers want to be on TikTok. We're going to be covering what strategies are creators using on TikTok. Is TikTok financial advice legal? So, are you doing the right thing by sharing advice on TikTok? And then finally, should we be listening to some of the advice that you can actually get on TikTok? So let's first quickly talk about what TikTok is and why it maybe makes sense for influencers to want to be there. For myself, just speaking personally, it's actually one of the few places I can still get organic reach. So that is wonderful. We can do a post where I make fun of Toronto. I know it upsets the people of Toronto, but where we can make fun of Toronto and I get 30,000 new impressions by just calling Toronto a shitty city. Now, again, I actually don't think Toronto's that shitty. I do think it's kind of a shitty investment city, though, where it is a kind of a struggle to find cash flow. And that's the primary thing I'm focused on as a real estate investor. But what's fascinating is I could probably, actually, maybe I should try and do an A/B test. Let me know in the comments whether you guys think I should do an A/B test. But I know that if I made the exact same video on YouTube, I'd probably just get my normal 500 to 1,000 viewers in the first 24 hours. And then maybe we'd get a few more spillover views, but that would be it. Whereas on TikTok, there's always that potential for that organic reach. And that organic reach and discovery is absolutely powerful. And it's one of the reasons that we're absolutely in love with trying to create content for TikTok. And I actually produce 2 pieces on TikTok every single day. In addition, now we're going to be going live twice a day on TikTok as well. So we're really trying to carve out that space. And we'll be looking towards moving to other platforms like Clubhouse in the near future as well, because again, we need to constantly stay on the bleeding edge of technology, and wherever the attention is where we need to go as well. So understand when you're looking at creating content for TikTok, things like simple financial tips and easy to produce for these creators, right? So it's actually really easy for us to just distill down a very simple piece of advice. Now, you're going to be limited to 30 seconds to a minute, right? You're probably not going to be able to get into in-depth discussions or nuances, finesse, things of that nature. But we can certainly establish rules of thumb. We can explore a simple concept, or we can create intrigue and then lead people off of TikTok onto our other platforms. So for example, we're trying to create a lot of engaging content on TikTok, and hopefully people will follow that breadcrumb trail back to my YouTube or Facebook or one of the other platforms where we're a bit more established. There's also just a large market of people using this app. And up until recently, there's really been a lot more demand for content than content available. Now we're starting to see a little bit more of a balance there, but the organic reach is still amazing on TikTok. And TikTok also represents just one of the simplest and fastest ways to be able to grow your brand. People aren't expecting really high production value on TikTok. You're not necessarily competing with people that have a giant staff behind them that are creating content, where when you get into other platforms like YouTube, that often can be the case. I mean, I've got an entire team behind me. So some interesting influencers with a Canadian spin and a personal finance spin that you guys may want to check out are people like Millennial Coach, who talks about budgeting advice, or there's InvestorMelDave, or there's NoBudgetBabe, right? Both of these are Canadian TikTok creators that are really just sharing their personal journeys and sharing some best practices and tips with their audience as well. So for example, InvestorMelDave, they're doing real estate focused couple out of North Bay, named Mel and Dave, obviously. And they essentially just discuss how they're building their real estate portfolio, how they've been able to succeed, some of their best practices and tips, and then just kind of sharing some insights into their real estate investing journey, very similar to what I do on my YouTube channel. And then we've also got, NoBudgetBabe. She's a money coach from Mississauga, Ontario, and also talks about how to make money and invest that money and focusing on income producing assets like stocks. And so, for example, in one of her videos with over 2 million views, she explains why renting a unit instead of buying a property doesn't necessarily mean that you're throwing away money. Hey, do you guys remember how I did that entire video on why renting can actually make sense and why buying a house is a bad idea for a lot of people? Well, she's essentially distilling that down into a 1-minute little clip. And to be able to reach 2 million people organically on that platform is absolutely amazing. So anyway, sometimes the cost of ownership, such as interest or mortgage payments and maintenance costs, can add up to being more than the cost of renting, and especially in high cost of living areas. So like in markets like Toronto or Vancouver, it's very common. You can actually find that your landlord is subsidizing your rent. Believe it or not, I know that there's a lot of people that think landlords always make money, but that is absolutely not always the case. And so let's talk a little bit about the legality of sharing some of our best practices here. So understand, here in Canada, only licensed financial advisors can legally give direct advice about how to invest money. So oftentimes myself or people like NoBudgetBabe, they're going to be talking more theoreticals, or they're going to talk about situations, but they're not going to give specific advice to a specific individual on a specific piece of content, because then you're going to be stepping into some gray area unless you've got that license. But even then, you probably don't want to be doing that out on social media. So to avoid any confusion, she makes it very clear on her profile that she's a money coach and not a financial advisor. And so let's now talk about, should we be listening to these financial gurus on TikTok or really just any social media platform? And one of the biggest questions always comes down to credibility. I mean, these days, I'm sure same with you guys, my YouTube ads are just filled with 13-year-olds telling me about how they made 6 figures in 6 seconds and how I'm an idiot for not doing the same thing. And I gotta be honest, maybe I'm just getting old, but I gotta call shenanigans on some of that shit. I just don't know if I actually believe it. And so specifically, what it is there's a gap of credibility with a lot of new social media influencers, especially on newer platforms, where it's like, have you actually achieved what you've done? And that's why I really like the angle that, InvestorMelDave are doing, or the angle that myself or a lot of the other people in my circle do, which is documenting, not creating, when it comes to really just sharing your journey. Show the ups and the downs of your real estate investing journey. And I think people will connect with you a lot more. I think also you'll be building a deeper relationship with your audience. So if you guys are unfamiliar, I think it was it Kevin Kelly, the Wired editor, wrote the 1,000 True Fans article. If you guys haven't read that essay, I really encourage you to read 1,000 True Fans essay. And then there was a pundit from Y Combinator that did an update to it called 100 True Fans. And believe it or not, if you've got 100 to 1,000 true fans, you can absolutely build a lifestyle business where you could just focus on your passion and your fans, building that community, and you could make an above average Canadian lifestyle. And I think that's what's really exciting about some of these new platforms, is the ability to get that organic reach and get in front of other individuals. But let's talk about some of the worries when it comes to some of these financial gurus on social media. So first, obviously on TikTok, we're limited by the length. So you can only fit so much information into a minute. As well, good advice can sometimes be boring. So we're constantly being compelled or challenged to try and find creative angles or approaches to present this information to keep the user engaged. Like when I call Toronto a shitty city, that's more about getting engagement and keeping your attention than really, trying to hit on Toronto or like take Toronto down a notch. Although it turns out a lot of people apparently have their personal identity very closely coupled to the city they live in, which I would look into that sometime when you're on a psilocybin trip or something. But anyways, there's also this primal urge to follow things that go viral. And so things that have a lot of views get more views. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be the best information or the most valuable information or information that's right for you in your specific situation. And there's really no fact checking when it comes to TikTok or a lot of other social media platforms. So while that kid claims he made $100,000 in 6 seconds, I mean, how do we actually know that? Sure, he's got a screenshot, but screenshots can be very easily edited on Photoshop. So I think what we're going to be looking towards is, how long have you been on this platform? How long have you been sharing your story? How long have you been building credibility? For myself, I'd like to think we've been doing it for a while. I mean, we've been here for 5 years now. We'll be here for another 5 years and 5 after that. So again, we're really committed to the long term of documenting our journey. I think if you commit to the long term of documenting your journey on social media as well, it will pay dividends greater than you could ever imagine. But if you're only doing this for the money, somehow social media can tell, and they're just not going to love you. So you really do need to love your audience. You just need to love providing value. And hopefully this video provided you guys some value. So if you did get some value, please do smash that like button. Hit subscribe if you're new to my channel. If you're enjoying this on TikTok, give us some feedback, give us some love. Are diamonds a thing? This was literally my first time going live on TikTok. So last time we saw that there was a diamond thing. I don't even know what that does. Tell me what diamonds do on TikTok. But before we wrap up, let's share a couple of the myths that are going viral recently on TikTok. So first things first, understand the Federal Reserve does not have secret $1 million bank accounts for every American or Canadian for that matter. So no, the government's not just going to magically open up these bank accounts for you and give you millions of dollars. That's I feel very safe in saying that's not happening. Another one talks about the ways you can simply copy the investments of rich people. Just do whatever a rich person does. But there's actually there's differences here, right? One, usually we're looking at historical examples, and it's very hard to replicate a historical example to be able to duplicate it exactly. So understand that there's no silver bullets in life, guys. If you're seeing a silver bullet on social media, it doesn't matter whether it's on TikTok, YouTube, or LinkedIn, understand there's no silver bullets. So you're being sold a bill of goods, in my opinion, if you are trying to buy a silver bullet. Instead, hard work is actually the ultimate cheat code. That's essentially what I attribute my success to, is at the end of the day, I'm willing to cheat and I will just work harder than you guys. And so if you're trying to find that silver bullet, I recommend just cheating and working harder. But appreciate you guys. Hope you got value from this video. Reminder, sharing is caring, and we'll see you tomorrow with a couple more live videos. Thanks, guys.